Hi, welcome to Bipolar Mindfulness. My name is Ash. Here we talk about two main topics. One, having a mental health condition, and two, cultivating mindfulness. Why do we talk about these two things together? One, having a mental health condition takes commitment. We've got to find a good doctor, we've got meds, finding the right mix of medications, having a good therapist, a support group, lots of things involved in being mentally healthy. And then we're learning some great new things about what mindfulness is doing to help with that as well. In fact, there's scientific research now that shows that mindfulness can have a wonderfully positive effect on mental health. So that's why we talk about those two things together. Okay, let's get started. Today, I'd like to talk about a taper plan. So for those of you just joining, I am tapering off of a drug called Seroquel. And the first thing I did was I sat down with my doctor because she and I needed to create a taper plan together. We both bring something very important to the table. One, she knows from a pharmacological perspective what is safe, what I can do, what I shouldn't do, what I cannot do. And then I know what my goal is for getting off of a medication and how I'm feeling so that I can let her know, okay, here's the experience I'm having, and we can make changes to the plan as needed. So here are a couple of things to think about when you want to taper off of a drug. The first one is, why now? And there are two places that we can be in when we decide to taper. One is a good place. Right now, things are relatively stable in my life. Inside, I'm feeling well. I'm not in the middle of a hypomanic or a depressive episode. And I'm also outside, not going through anything huge, a move or a new job or the loss of a relationship. So I'm in a good place. Now, why would somebody want to make a med change when they're in a good place? Because there's a danger zone here. Sometimes we feel like, man, I feel so good that I don't need this med anymore. That's not good. So we want to be really discerning there. The other reason we would want to get off when we're in a good place is when the side effects of the drug start to outweigh the benefits. So for me, excessive weight gain, the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, the risk of a permanent condition called TD, which is involuntary muscle spasms, those side effects are more considerable to me than the benefits of using this particular drug to be stable. I'm not saying the side effects outweigh the benefit of being stable, but being stable can come through a lot of medications and lifestyle choices. It doesn't have to be one particular drug. In fact, when I was on lithium, I had such a negative reaction to it. We immediately started exploring other options. So even when we're in a good place and we're trying to figure out the med mix, it's okay to make changes. The second place we can be in is in a difficult place. And that's actually the more common time that we're making a med change. Maybe your doctor wants to taper you off of something so that you can go on another medication, making adjustments like that. It's okay to taper off of a drug when we're in a difficult place. Either way, a taper plan is critical. One of the most important reasons to have a taper plan is because of the risk of something called destabilization. So as human beings, the way it was explained to me, I love this, we want to stay on the road, right? So there's a road and there are highs and lows. You know, we have depressive times, we have happy times. That's normal. And that's what someone with a mental health condition wants to do. They want to stay on the road. When we destabilize, that means we start going off the road. So we get a hypomanic episode or a manic episode, maybe we dip off into a depressive episode, and destabilization can be very dangerous. We know a lot of the risks of being hypomanic or being depressive. So our goal obviously is to be mentally healthy or on the road as opposed to mentally ill at that particular time or off the road. So if we have a taper plan that we feel comfortable with, that our doctor feels comfortable with, we are much less likely to destabilize or to have severe withdrawal symptoms. In my case, I'm doing 25 milligrams every time I drop, and I'm only dropping once every 3 weeks. That is such a slow taper that even though I've been on this drug for 4 years, and even though it's a pretty heavy drug, I really haven't been experiencing withdrawal symptoms, and that's the goal, is to be able to do this as easily as possible. Just a quick word of caution here. I have had a doctor who did two very dangerous things. Once she wanted to change too many things at one time. So she wanted me to come off of 2 drugs and she wanted to add a drug all at once. And the second thing she did once was she wanted me to come off of a drug very quickly. I'd been on it for a couple of years and she wanted me off of it in a month. And those two things are very dangerous. So I love my current doctor. She knows what a safe taper looks like. I know now what a safe taper looks like. So we make a good team when we come up with a plan. If your doctor recommends something like too many med changes at one time or dropping very quickly, because a lot of times people want to get off of it, so they'll even be at a place where we'll go in and say, okay, what's the fastest that I can get off this drug? And some doctors just want to be accommodating. But if they do one of those two dangerous things, maybe take a step back. 1, I changed my doctor. Or 2, just letting them know, I appreciate it, but I think so that I can stay stable and have the fewest withdrawal symptoms, that I'd like to go a little slower and drop my dosages by very small amounts each time. Okay, so to recap, the most important things about having a taper plan are 1, that I'm doing it safely. I'm making sure that my body has time to make adjustments. And 2, that I am less likely to have withdrawal symptoms, much less withdrawal symptoms that are so severe that once when the withdrawals got really bad with one particular taper, I said, forget it, I can't do this. And I went right back up. Not because I needed the drug, but because the withdrawal was so uncomfortable. So having a good taper plan has both of those benefits. Now, here's for the 1, 2, 3, 4 update. Each day I update on 4 things. Number 1, what dose of Seroquel I'm on. I'm still at 175. I told you I was going really, really slowly. 2 is my weight. Went up from 189 to 190, which is fine. We know weight fluctuations, 1 to 2 pounds even in a day is very common. I would like to get it going in the other direction, so I'm going to try a recommendation. I really like the idea of this. Stop eating 5 hours before you go to bed. That's it. All right, so I'll keep you guys posted. The third thing is withdrawal symptoms. I'm not having anything terribly uncomfortable. One thing I'm noticing that's good is I feel more vivacious and I have more clarity of thought. So yeah, I'm liking that, but sometimes that can be a very early warning sign that I'm headed toward a hypomanic episode. That's something that's really cool about people who are committed to their mental health, is they start to notice, okay, this looks like I'm headed toward depression, or this looks like I'm headed toward hypomania or full-blown mania. I'm starting to notice, wow, things are kind of a little clearer. So the fourth thing is, what has mindfulness done to help me today? And that leads me back to what we were just talking about. When I begin to experience something good or bad, in this case it's good, clarity of thought and more motivation, mindfulness helps me to step back and be objective and say, is this something that's happening because you are making a med change? Or are you headed toward a manic or a depressive episode? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you know someone who you think might benefit, feel free to share. Of course, like and subscribe if you'd like to. And that's it for today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.